Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic Hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I want to talk to you about the latest episode of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. It was called Birthright. And as it starts, we're in flashback to the 50s, where Shaw, Randa, and the Doc are meeting with the new Monarch commander, Hatch, who basically rakes them over the coals for not producing much in the way of results over 2 years, and mocking the good Doc in the process, resulting in Randa going for him, but being held back by Shaw. In 2015, Tim takes the kids inside Monarch's war room, where Verdugo tells them that Shaw has blasted the Antarctic site, leading to a shift in where gamma bursts or spikes appear, and asks them to predict where Shaw might be going based on their insight into their dad's activities, which Shaw seems to be following. In flashback, Randa is pissed at being relegated to the basement, and Shaw realizes that if they find another Titan in time for the military Monarch budget meeting in a few days, they can save Monarch, so he urges them to create a Titan tracking map. In 2015, Tim and the kids figure out Shaw must be in Kazakhstan because it's where Keiko died, so they are sent there by Verdugo. In flashback, once again, Randa almost confesses his love for Keiko when she thanks him for defending her in front of Hatch, but doesn't, while Shaw eavesdrops. In pursuit of Shaw, the kids and the Monarch team make their way to a nuclear reactor in Kazakhstan, where there should be a ton of radiation, but isn't, because it's being absorbed by something. And they find a whole bunch of large insect exoskeletons. And at this point, I'm thinking there's only one thing they should do, and that's... However, they press on and find a giant pit, the one that the kid's grandmother disappeared into under giant insect attack, which Tim thinks is a portal, and that it seems like the place is rigged to blow. Michelle, the French lady from Monarch, and some goons come in and get the drop on the team before Shaw comes in and asks Kate to go off and talk with him. In flashback, Randa realizes that Titans live underground, or more accurately, in an alternate dimension inside the Earth. And he goes to tell Keiko at home, and he learns that she's got a kid, Hiroshi, whom she's only been able to bring over to the US with her mom from Japan. And Randa again almost shares his feelings for her, but doesn't. In 2015, Shaw tells Kate he thinks Godzilla is aware of his actions, that he's not just a mindless, rampaging machine. He also tells her about the inner world dimension, as well as that he's been to it, and that what Godzilla is trying to do is preserve his world, preserve his kind, which is why Shaw is trying to seal off that dimension with big blasts to keep humanity from it. In flashback, Shaw tells Puckett Godzilla is still alive, before Puckett goes in to see the vice president about continuing to fund Monarch. In 2015, Tim tries to explain to Shaw's right-hand lady the danger to the world of what Shaw is about to do, but she doesn't listen. Shaw, meanwhile, sets off the timers for the charges as everyone runs, and a huge bug titan emerges from the portal, causing Kate and Shaw to fall into the portal before the whole building comes down. And that's where the episode ended. So I thought this was a really good episode once again, and I'm happy to say that it's because of the story and not so much the monster stuff. Which, and I know I've said this before, is funny because the movies that take place in this universe that we've had over the last few years are all monsters and no substance, and therefore kind of bleh. So it's so weird to me that a series set in the same universe, presumably by similar writers and producers, is actually good because of the story. So it's just really strange. But anyway, the story of this show is really good. We learned in the last couple episodes that Shaw and Keiko had feelings for each other, and while we've yet to see them act on them, they were apparently such strong feelings that all these years later, Shaw is still carrying a torch for her, even though at some point she got with Bill and is doing what he's doing, like in her name, kind of. He even admits it outright, that he's doing what he's doing to make up for what happened to her, which of course this won't do. You know, whatever he's doing isn't going to accomplish that. But he does say that that's why he's doing it for her. But since we know that she gets with Randa at some point, it all kind of doesn't make sense. Like, it's not like he was into her and she wasn't into him. It was mutual. So why didn't they get together? Was it because she was Japanese and they didn't think it would fly in the post-World War II America? What happened? We know that Bill developed feeling for her, obviously, because they're showing that now. And it seems like she kind of returns them, but does she care for both guys at the same time? I mean, I suppose that's possible. Princess Leia had divided loyalties between Han and Luke, right? So the good doctor can have feelings for both of them. So it's just a very interesting, almost soap opera-esque storyline, but it's not carried out in a soap opera-esque way. So it's just very, well done. And it's an ongoing sort of mystery that you want to solve. You want to know, how did these two get together? Why didn't the other two get together? And now they've dropped into the story the fact that Hiroshi was already like 2 before Keiko and Randa got together. So he is not Bill Randa's kid, and Kate and Kentaro are not Bill Randa's biological grandchildren. So what's up with that? Why were they not told the truth? So there's all these dramatic twists and turns in the story, and I just feel like it's really good stuff. It really depicts aspects or elements of the human condition, which is that humans go through this stuff, you know, emotional ups and downs and twists and turns and relationship intricacies and things. And so I just think that's all very well done. And on top of that, there's the monster plot, which in this case wouldn't even have to be a monster plot. And that's a good thing, because it means that the fact that the story is good doesn't depend on a particular MacGuffin, right? It could be any sort of disaster facing humanity, and the story would still work. It just happens to be giant monsters. So they're like the icing on the cake, which I think is how it should be. Because otherwise you rely on action scenes and special effects to have a show, and that's not what you want. You want those things to be an extra. And that's very much the case with this show. And the plot point that drives in terms of the human story is you've got these two opposing forces now, both trying to, I guess, do what they think is the right thing, but in completely opposite directions. You've got Shaw and his team who are trying to seal off the portals, not so much to protect humanity, but to protect the underworld and the monsters. And I guess as a byproduct, humanity, if they're successful. And you've got the other folks, Monarch and whatnot, trying to stop him because their goal is to, I guess, kill the monsters, which would be interesting in the case of Kate and Kentaro because her grandmother didn't want to do that. And we don't know what their father's angle is because we've only seen him once. So that's the other mystery. What exactly is he doing? He's still, you know, we know he's following these monsters and the map and so forth, but what's he doing? What's his goal? We don't know. It's still a mystery. And I think, like I said, it's all very cool. Are those, I said 2 sides of it, it's really 3. Are those 3 elements ever going to get to a point where they go, okay, we're going to decide on a single mission and this is how we're going to do it? Are they ever going to have a detente? Or is one side going to do things their way and that's how it's going to end, at least at the end of the season, and the other side's going to be like, damn it, we didn't, you know, stop him or them. So how's it going to go? Where's it going to go? Are they going to go to the underworld? It looks like they are going to go to the underworld now because Kate and Shaw fell in there. So we're going to see that. That's going to be wild. So yeah, I think it's just a great show from a story standpoint. There's a lot of stuff going on that's all very intriguing and moving and thought-provoking and all that stuff. And I think it's just great. It's got monsters on top of it. Like the giant bug in this episode was crazy. So yeah, I'm just really, really enjoying this show. And I'm looking forward to the next episode. I'm going to get out of here for now, but I will be back with a breakdown and review of that episode once it's released. Until I return, I wish you peace and long life.